Hello there.
Hello.
And welcome to the Night of the Movies podcast.
Ooh.
I'm Spike Knight and I run the Night of the Movies YouTube channel, and that's what this podcast is linked to. And with me is...
Hey guys, my name is Lewis Fearon and I am Spike's right-hand man.
Yeah, Lewis is a good friend of mine. He's also a frequent collaborator. He's been on the YouTube channel quite a few times.
Oh yes.
Which we're also recording this podcast for, so you'll be able to see it visually online at my YouTube channel at Night of the Movies. And basically we're doing this podcast to have a bit of fun and to talk movies, TV and music and whatever we like. So it's just a bit of fun in the end. We won't be doing any serious topics, like we won't be talking about politics or what's going on in the world right now.
No.
We just want to give a fun time to our listeners and our viewers.
Yeah, this is all about classic movies and our top 10 faves.
Yeah, that's what this podcast is about. No, that's not all the podcast is going to be like.
That's this podcast. Yeah.
And also we're just planning to have a bit of a laugh and provide some entertainment for half an hour to an hour once a week. And sometimes it'll just be me, and sometimes I'll have him with me.
Oh yeah, I come around fairly frequently, so whenever I am here.
And also, if you're listening online, either on Spotify or whatever this podcast has ended up, you can also see the podcast visually on my YouTube channel, like I've already mentioned, Night of the Movies, which there'll probably be a link to the description of the podcast in, and there'll be a link to the podcast in the description of this YouTube video as well, if you are watching this on YouTube. Also, if you enjoy the podcast or the video, please subscribe, comment down below, link, tell your friends, and come back for more, as you have plenty more to offer on this podcast and on this YouTube channel with these sort of videos.
Oh yes.
But for now,
there's always a new topic. Even we can even do a half an hour podcast as literally talking about Mario Kart.
Yes,
literally.
I mean we literally just play Mario Kart actually. But as for now, just enjoy the podcast and enjoy us talking about our top 10 favourite films. And yeah, hope you enjoy. So without further ado, let's get into our topic for today. It's our top 10 favourite films. By the way, if you are watching this on YouTube, I don't actually know if you can see me because of my laptop. So if you can, there you go. I don't know if you'll be able to see me. None of the listeners will care whatsoever to that because they won't understand a word there because they're watching it.
Well, guys, feel free to comment your top 10 favourite films.
Oh yeah, do leave a comment if you watch this on the YouTube channel. Please do let me know your top 10 favourite films. We might discuss that in the next podcast.
Oh yes,
we could do.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, brilliant. Lewis has already started laughing. So, right, basically, we're going to go through our top 10 favourite films, and what's going to happen. I don't think even Lewis knows how this is going to work, but basically, what's going to happen is I'm going to say my 10th favourite film. He's going to say his 10th. I'm going to say my 9th. He's going to say his 9th. And you get the point. And we're also going to give opinions on each of our favourite films. So, if his favourite film, say, in his list, and I know it's not, but say his list, he puts The Phantom Menace in there. I'll say, worst Star Wars movie ever made, or something like that. You get the point I'm making.
And I'd be like, yeah, but it's got some good scenes.
To be fair, The Phantom Menace has some good scenes, but anyway, you get the point. We're going to give opinions on each of our movies that we're choosing. And also, these are only our top 10 favourite films for now. These could change tomorrow. Like, my number 1 and my number 2 are quite interchangeable. Some days, my number 1 is my number 2, some days my number 2 is my number 1. And, you know, there's one film on my list I only watched a couple of weeks ago. So.
There's plenty of films that could have easily made it into my top 10 favourite films, but because I've chosen the 10 that, if I can only take 10 with me, and it literally
a desert island.
Yeah, I'd choose the 10 that
there's a desert island, there's you and a TV, and you can only watch 10 films. These are the 10 films.
But the last 10 films of my life, I picked these.
Brilliant. Yeah, so so that's what we're going to be going on about. We're going to be talking about our top 10 favourite films. And also, I'm going to be giving some honourable mentions, some films that didn't make the list, which I also love a bit later on. But without further ado, let's get into my 10th favourite film. Right, we're back. I just wanted to check. So yeah, a lot of things might go wrong, by the way, because it's our first podcast. I don't know how the camera's looking.
It's the first
I don't
time
know how the audio's coming through.
Everyone's got to start somewhere. So.
Yeah, so it's our first podcast. Even though I've been doing the YouTube channel for quite a while now, since 2019. You know, I haven't done a podcast before. I've been on a podcast before once. I've been on a podcast once, but nevertheless, I haven't really done a podcast myself before. So things could go wrong. I also do apologise if there's an audio interference at any point, because I do live next to a main road. So you might hear some like motorbikes going past at any point. But still, back to the podcast, and I'm going to say my 10th favourite film as of today, as of the 9th of August, when recording this video, this podcast, if you will, if you listen to this online. So my 10th favourite film, as you can see, is because I've got my laptop up. My 10th favourite film is Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. So I only saw this film this year. It's now my favourite film of this year, undoubtedly. I mean, I do listen to movies as well.
It's by far, by a mile, my favourite film of this year as well.
Yeah, but it's my number one from the year, and it's my favourite musical biopic. I love musical biopics, whether it's Walk the Line, Strauss Compton, Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocketman, and so on, so on, so on. There's some musical biopics I like obviously more than others, but Elvis is my favourite one that I've seen, and it just blew me away. I mean, it's an astounding piece of filmmaking, and after I first saw the movie, I was in a daze. Like, I remember walking around the town where I live, where there's a cinema, and I was just in a complete daze after I saw the movie. Now, let's go to Lewis's opinion on the film, because I know he's seen it, because I actually saw it with him the third time I saw it. I've seen it 4 times now. I'm tempted to go and see it a fifth. Let's see what you think of the film.
Well, but I do love Elvis as a movie. I love the film. I love the realisticness of the movie. I love how accurate it is. And I thought the actor that they chose to play Elvis was a good choice. And I don't think I love it. I don't love it. I obviously don't love it quite as much as what Spike does, because it's not in my top 10. But although it isn't, I wouldn't feel ashamed of putting it in there. You know, if somebody was like, Lewis, you have to have Elvis in 10th, I'd be like, sure, whatever.
Brilliant.
But yeah, I think it's a top film, and it's my favourite movie of the last few years in terms of music biopics. Out of this, Bohemian Rhapsody and Rocketman, I think Elvis. For me, Elvis is the most complete film. It's not too cheesy. It doesn't feel like I'm watching a musical, unlike Rocketman did. Certainly did. And yeah, not gonna lie, I've got no disrespect to Rocketman. I do love Elton John and Elton John's music, and I like Taron Egerton as well, and what I've seen him in. He's a good actor, but not gonna lie, after watching Elvis, it's made me see Rocketman in a very different light. Put it that way. It's made me put it this way. After watching Elvis, I'd struggle to think, you know what, I'm gonna go back to Rocketman. Put it that way.
Yeah. I like Rocketman as well. Dex Fletcher's a great director, but at the same time, now. It's a bit stagey. It feels like a stage play. Going on to Lewis's 10th. So,
guys, my 10th film, my top 10 favourite movies of all time,
as of
today, has to be the 1979 starring Clint Eastwood Escape from Alcatraz movie. For me, this isn't a joke. If you type in Clint Eastwood's best movies, I'm pretty sure this is in the top 3. Which I had no idea about at first, but I'm pretty sure.
Let's have a look. Bum, bum, bum.
Well, it was when I looked. Okay, well, it should be. It'll be there. Put it that way.
I've just looked on Google and
okay.
It's currently not, but
okay. Well, it was there when what I looked at. What I looked at.
Right. So why do you love Escape from Alcatraz? Why do you love it?
Well, I love I love it for several reasons. I love how realistic it is. I feel like the film. There's absolutely. I don't care if it was from 1979. There's absolutely zero CGI in it, but they made it in a great way. It works, and also they literally use the actual prison, the interior and outerior for the movie. They literally went to Angel Island and just. I don't know. They obviously got permission. I don't know how many rights or how many times they had to ask permission, but they literally filmed it at Alcatraz, which for me just seals the deal. And you know, I like the music of the film. Don't get me wrong; it's not like Indiana Jones and there's constantly trumpets playing them. But at the times when there is music in the movie, it's eerie. It's really eerie. You feel like you're actually there at the 1964 Alcatraz, whatever year they broke out. It was 64 or something like that.
I don't know. You know the story better than I do.
Okay, well, yeah, something like that. It might be 1964, and. Yeah, I think Clint Eastwood. Okay, he looks nothing like Frank Morris. And I never knew this a while ago, but Frank Morris, the real Frank Morris who escaped with the Anglicans, and you'd assume survived. You'd assume so survived. I like to think that they all survived and got out and got away safely. But well, let's presume it's either that or they drifted off into the Pacific Ocean. That is a theory, but I like to think that they got away. Well, he was literally like 5'7" in real life. He was actually small, and Clint Eastwood in his prime was like 6'3" or 6'4" or something. But so although he don't look like Frank Morris, he plays him well in every other way. And I think Clint Eastwood was the perfect choice to play Frank Morris escaping from Alcatraz.
So, my opinion on Escape from Alcatraz, I don't love it as much as he does. I think it's fine. I've only seen it once.
He doesn't love it as much as I do.
I think that, to be honest, I found it a bit slow.
It's quite controversial.
I found it a bit slow, and I didn't really find it that riveting or that interesting or that fascinating. And I don't know. I don't think it helped. Like, I remember when I watched it around the same time I watched Shawshank for like second time. And
two very different films.
Miles better, to be honest. And
Two
very different, yes.
Both set in the prison, but two very different films.
And I don't know. I think it's okay. I don't think it's a bad film. I don't at all. But at the same time, no, it's a bit slow for me. Basically we disagree on it, but yeah. But it's not a bad film, and I can understand why he has it in his top 10 list, particularly because, you know, it's very nostalgic for him. I remember you saying you watched it quite a lot when you were a kid.
I started watching it in like year 9. So I wasn't a kid, I was a teenager. Yeah, and also I've always been more fascinated with the actual Alcatraz escape, the real life one. I've seen documentaries.
Yeah, and I'm not. So maybe that's the reason I'm not as big in it as he is.
Well, for me, it's literally the perfect movie for an enthusiast on the escape from Alcatraz.
Which had another pause, so back again here. Okay, now we're going to go on to my 9th favourite film, and we're going to go on to his 9th favourite film. But first, we're going to talk about mine. So, my 9th favourite film, as of now, as of 19th of August 2022, is Whiplash.
I love that movie.
One of the most intense films. You came around and saw it one day, a couple of years ago, last year.
It was year 13.
Yeah, so, not that they know what year we're in anyway.
No, okay, it was 2019.
Yeah,
late 2019.
Yeah, that was when we were in year 13. You guys do the math. But anyway,
late 2019.
Yeah, it was one of the most intense films I've ever seen. It's from a very exciting and I say up and coming filmmaker, but he's made some like Oscar-winning movies already. Whiplash was like his first big film. Damien Chazelle, the director, that's like his first big movie, and it won Oscars. Like J.K. Simmons, who was a teacher, it won an Oscar for that role, and he was incredible in it. And also Damien Chazelle's gone to make La La Land, which, you know, say all about La La Land, but
I still need to watch that film. I haven't seen La La Land.
It's won some Oscars. It's a bit controversial. Some people love it, some people hate it. Personally, I love it.
Is it a musical? What's that actually about?
Yes and no, but that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about La La Land in another podcast. But also, First Man, he directed the first one, which I know we really liked. We went to watch the cinema.
I actually saw First Man last week with my granddad.
There you go. Lewis saw First Man with his granddad. There you go, podcast.
For the second time, obviously.
Oh, yeah. It's our first time for the second time. There you go. Yeah, we saw it together for the first time. We saw First Man for the first time at the cinema.
That's true. Good one. I'm not gonna lie. I saw it in a much different light watching it 4 years later as opposed to 2018. You know, watching it now, I took a lot more in.
Yeah, fair enough. But anyway, back to Whiplash. We're off topic. It's still my favourite film from Damien Chazelle, even so I do love La La Land and I do really like First Man. And I'll never get over the feeling I had when I finished the film for the first time. I was on holiday and I finished the film, and if you've seen the film, you know the final scene is one of the most intense things ever, and it's like it ended and I would literally want like that, and I even still get the feeling now when I watch it. I haven't seen it in a while actually. I ought to go and rewatch it again.
The last time you saw it, was it with me?
It probably was, to be honest, because I've been watching quite a lot of new films recently. I recently just watched the new Predator, by the way, and we'll talk about Predator a bit later, but
the Predator.
Ooh, not Prey. The Predator from 2018. But anyway, back to Whiplash.
It's a bad one.
It is a phenomenal film, and I absolutely love it. Lewis, what do you think of Whiplash?
I don't love it, but I do really like it. I remember watching it, and then is everything that happened in it actually true? You know, when he crashes his car and
no, it's not a true story.
Oh, is it not? No. Oh, I thought I spent all this time.
It's not a true story. I don't think it is anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I knew that would be quite a disheartening true story.
I thought the bald guy who was his teacher was pretty intense.
Amazing. So I'm just giving the name of the actor there. Somehow, like when in one of Lewis' ears and out the other, I just completely forgot about his name.
What guy?
J.K. Simmons, phenomenal actor, love him loads of movies.
Comedy gold.
Comedy Gold, brilliant. Yeah, you don't need to even get Comedy Central, you can get us instead. But anyway, yeah, you like Whiplash quite a lot.
I do.
Okay.
I do like.
So
I'd watch it again.
Okay, what's your number 9 favourite movie?
My 9th favourite movie is... It's one of your, if not your all-time favourite movie, but...
Spoiler alert for later.
Spoiler alert. Guys, just hang in there, just wait for the moment.
It's going to get more exciting, don't
worry. It will. Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. I'm not gonna lie.
Star Wars Episode 5: The Empire Strikes Back.
Star Wars Episode 5: The Empire Strikes Back. To put it exactly. But I saw this film late. It literally took me until I was 16 to finally watch this movie. I'd seen A New Hope and Return of Jedi. For some reason, I just never got around to Empire. I don't know why. But back when I was a kid and teenager, I used to literally watch the same stuff over it. Once I found something I liked, I hated change. But luckily, after meeting Spike himself, that changed everything. And
Night of the Movies itself.
Yeah, quite literally. I've seen a lot of new movies after meeting Spike. But
one of which we'll be talking about a bit later, and also one of which we just talked about, Whiplash. I showed you that for the first time.
Yeah, well, the thing that I love about Empire Strikes Back is, okay, I love the original three. I love A New Hope. I love A New Hope. I love Empire. I love Return of the Jedi. But Empire. I mean, I love the famous scene with Darth Vader and Luke when he. Okay.
Can I say?
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, Spike's got a funny story to do that.
It's more Lewis' story.
Yeah, it's my story. But Spike's
he
gonna
told
tell
me,
it.
and it blew my mind. So basically, he saw Toy Story 2.
Okay, I was a noob.
He saw Toy Story 2 before he saw Empire Strikes Back. Two very good sequels, to be fair. Toy Story 2 is a very good film, but he thought that, when what's his face in Toy Story 2? What's the purple guy called in Toy Story?
Zurg.
Zurg says to Buzz, is it Buzz Lightyear says to Zurg or something like that?
You killed my father.
Yeah, you killed my father. Lewis thought that was the first time the I am your father twist was ever done in cinema. He didn't realise that he was doing an Empire all these years beforehand. So
okay, I might have had an inkling, but at the same time, I didn't know.
I don't think you know.
No.
And I still remember when he went to watch this for the first time, actually, because I think, was it in college or was it in Sandler? Or was it in secondary?
I saw Empire for the first time. It was after finishing year 11. It was a year 11 summer.
Because I remember you came to me and was like, I saw Empire last night, but really good. I just remember thinking, it's better than really good. Well, I'm not going to get into that, it's a spoiler for later, but still, nonetheless.
I love that. I love the Cloud City, and I love the music. The music in Empire Strikes Back wins it for me. The music is a big.
The music is quite incredible. I'm not going to give my opinion on this one because it may or may not come up in my list a bit later. But anyway, there you go. That's number 9 on Lewis's list of his top 10 favourite films. Right, we're going to speed this up. Come on, guys.
We've got plenty of time, guys. If you don't mind sticking around.
If you enjoyed it so far. Right, number 8 on my top 10 favourite films is Edgar Wright's Hot Fuzz. So this is my favourite of Edgar Wright's movies. I've loved all of his. I don't care what anyone says. I think Last Night in Soho is a sensational movie. I think his Spartacus documentary is fantastic as well, which I don't think enough people saw, which is coming on Netflix. Go and check that out if you haven't already. Also, I think that his Cornetto trilogy of Shaun the Dead, Hot Fuzz and World's End is all fantastic. And I also love Baby Driver. I love Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which is a bit controversial. Some people don't like Scott Pilgrim, some people don't like Baby Driver. Personally, I love both of them. I love all of Edgar Wright's movies, but my favourite is Hot Fuzz because it's just one of those films I return to like 3 times a year at least. Probably more than that, and it just feels like a big budget action comedy set in a small town in England, and it's genius. It's such a fun film to watch.
I do love Hot Fuzz.
I think objectively, it might not be Edgar Wright's best movie. I'd probably say objectively Shaun the Dead is, but I think subjectively,
I actually prefer Hot Fuzz over Shaun the Dead.
No, but I think objectively, I think Shaun the Dead is the better film, but I think Hot Fuzz is for me personally the better film.
I agree with you. I think Hot Fuzz is the better film.
Yeah, so do I. And so there you go.
I think Hot Fuzz
what
is
do
the
you
most
think of
complete
Hot Fuzz?
film. The most happens in Hot Fuzz. I think Hot Fuzz is great. I love the pace of it. It's not hard to understand, which goes a long way with me. I don't like films that are hard to understand. It's easy to understand. It's fast paced. It's long. It's long, but not too long. It's at least 2 hours. It's a decent length.
Yeah.
And I like the cast as well. It's good. The actors in it I'm fond of. I love. What's the name of Nick Frost's dad in it?
Oh, Jim Broadbent.
Okay, I love Jim Broadbent for playing the detective inspector from Only Fools and Horses, and I like Timothy Dalton. Still need to watch him as Bond, but I will. But
Brilliant. What's your opinion of Hot Fuzz? Jim Broadbent, Only Fools and Horses.
But my opinion is I like the cast. I think the music in it is pretty intense.
Oh, the music's fantastic.
I love some. I love the. I love some of the scenes. I love like some of the chases as well. When he's I love when he's running after some young guy out of the supermarket down the street, and you see him go over the car bonnet. You got Nick Frost running behind. Obviously not quite as fast, but he's coming.
It's one of the funniest films I've ever seen, and I have a bit of a tin air for comedy. Like, I don't find many comedy films that funny. I think Lewis can even speak to that. I remember when we went to watch one at the cinema. I just didn't really laugh at it that much.
Which one was this?
Have a guess. It begins with T and ends in Alcatraz. But I did not find that film funny. Old Lewis did. But you get the point I'm making. I'm not big on comedy with movies. I've seen some recent which I don't mind. I quite found Memes 2 a bit funny, but still at the same time, you get the point I'm making. I don't find many comedies funny in cinema. I don't really find many films funny, to be honest. I watched Adam Sandler's Wedding Singer movie the other day. Rubbish in my opinion. But Hot Fuzz is a cracking film. What is your number 8?
My number 8 is, get ready, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
There we go.
I'm a big fan. Okay, guys.
The first time Indiana Jones is mentioned, I've got a feeling it might be mentioned again.
Ooh, maybe. It's not the 4th one. Okay. I do like Indiana Jones. Okay, with the Skull, but it's not in my top 10.
Can I just say something about Scott? I saw some Spielberg documentary on BBC 4 last night, and it was obviously made before Kingdom of the Skull actually come out, because we're talking about Indiana Jones 4, they weren't ever giving it his name, but they had like interviews like Harrison Ford, they had like John Williams, had George Lucas, had Kathleen Kennedy, who was one of the producers of the movies, had Spielberg all going, if we're going to do Indiana Jones 4, we're going to get nailed down the script. George Lucas saying, I've been working on the script for over 30 years, ever since we did Last Crusade. They even had Sean Connery there, and Sean Connery was like, I might return if the script's great, but the script will be great because it's Spielberg. Harrison Ford saying, it's Indiana Jones 4, we're going to have to do it well, nothing's going to compete with it.
Right,
it is so disappointing.
I got what they say. What happened? How did they think the script of Indiana Jones 4 was like a typical Indiana Jones?
I was literally watching that and I was thinking, I mean, they're going to be saying the same stuff about Indiana Jones 5, and fingers crossed that film kicks ass, because I wanted to. But anyway, back to Temple of Doom. So I just wanted to get that out because it was really fun. I was watching that, I was kind of laughing in my head off, kind of imagine if it was.
Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. I love all 3 of the original Indiana Joneses. The 3 films: 1981 Raiders, 84 Temple of Doom, and 89 Last Crusade. Temple of Doom. It was always going to be in the top 10, but the reason why it's an 8th is, as much as I love Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, it's not for me. It's not my favourite. It's not like I don't see it in the same way that I don't feel in the same way that I feel when I'm watching Raiders and Last Crusade as I do when I'm watching the Temple of Doom. I love everything about the Temple of Doom. I love the setting. I love the start in Shanghai and China. I think that's amazing. I think the actor who plays Short Round is very good as well. And I love the bridge scene towards the end.
He was just great, and I think Everywhere All at Once, so I think we'll be between Jones 5.
Hopefully, he would have made the 4th one better. Shame wasn't there.
But yeah, Temple of Doom is, again, a cracking movie. I recently just saw it, to be honest. I know you'll disagree with me.
It's got great music.
But I kind of prefer Raiders, just because I didn't love Raiders when I was a kid. I've already spoken about this on my YouTube channel, which go and check out if you haven't already. But I didn't love Raiders when I was a kid, but I did love Temple of Doom when I was a kid. So, yeah, for me, it's in my top 20. I wouldn't say it's in my top 10, but it's definitely in my top 20. It's an amazing film. It's a film which invented the PG-13 rating in America. That and Gremlins, which Spielberg was both involved in.
They're both the same film. The same year. I mean.
Oh yeah, they're both the same film. Gremlins actually come into Temple of Doom. Short one runs into Gremlins, but no, Gremlins.
You got all the Gremlins dressed as fuggies.
Yeah, brilliant. Gremlins was produced by Spielberg, so he had an involvement in that. But also Temple of Doom obviously was directed by him. I love it. I think it's fantastic, and I think it's a great choice for Lewis's number 8. Number 7 on my top 10 favourite films is another Steven Spielberg film. Actually, I say another Steven Spielberg film. I haven't had one yet, but he just has. So this is our second Steven Spielberg film we're talking about, which is going to be Catch Me If You Can. This is my 7th on my top 10 favourite films. This often feels like one of Spielberg's most overlooked movies. It's honestly one of his best directed, in my opinion. That, and I think Saving Private Ryan, the opening Saving Private Ryan is incredibly well directed. Jaws is incredibly well directed. So is Close Encounters. I think Raiders is as well, and I think Last Crusade is as well. Slight spoilers for later, but still, nevertheless, it's got 2 terrific central performances from Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's got an incredible airport sequence with Come Fly Me going in the background. That is one of my favourite sequences in film, just Period.
It's one of my favourite sequences as well because I love Frank Sinatra and his singing.
Just the way that was all done, it's fantastic. And it's one of my favourite endings to a film ever. Like, if you've seen the movie, and this is a true story, it all happened as well. It's like Frank Abagnale Jr. It's all about his life, and it's a true story. It's actually happened. It all happens before the age of 19 or 21. So I think he leaves home. He works as an airport officer. He gets a job. I don't even know I can't even remember what happens in the film really, but
well, there's that much that happens in the film.
Yeah, it's quite incredible. Like, the amount of stuff he goes through.
It's not too hard. It's not hard to understand.
Like the amount of stuff that he goes through.
It's not complicated.
The character Frank Abagnale Jr., brilliantly played by Leonardo DiCaprio in that movie. The amount of stuff that character goes through before the age of 19, and then how you actually see how his life changes to the age of 21 is just amazing. Honestly, if you haven't checked it out, it's probably my favourite. It's probably my favourite film from Tom Hanks. I think he's incredible in it, and I think it's so well directed. It's gritty, it's exciting, and also it's a Christmas movie. So if you're listening to this around the holiday season, watch it then.
I don't know if there is a whole film in Christmas.
No, but like all the big events, every single time Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio's characters meet or talk to each other on the phone, it's always at Christmas.
Also, it went on for years.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure he leaves home with like 16 in the movie. It's quite,
And how old is he at the end?
He's 21.
When you see him at the end. 5.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, it's I totally sympathise as to why Catch Me If You Can is in Spike's 7th place because I've only seen the film once. I have it on DVD, so I can watch it whenever I want again. But I do love the movie. And when I saw it for the first time, I was amazed. Put it that way. I think that's probably the best way to describe it.
So there you go. We're big fans of Catch Me If You Can. And number 7 on Lewis's list is.
It's a Bond. It starts with G, ends with R. Goldfinger. Goldfinger, 1964.
Goldfinger.
He's the man.
Brilliant. You know, little Shirley Bassey impression there. But I'm going to do something different here. I'm going to give my opinion first on this one.
Alright. Bring it on.
Not my favourite Bond. It's a good Bond. I must admit, it's not one I'm going to be returning to anytime soon. Damping and I'm going to get a wet cloth and whacking with it. No, but yeah, it's a good film. It's a good film, and it's probably Connery's. I don't even think it's Connery's best actually. Of his, I think From Russia with Love's a bit better. But
I think he's great in both.
Yeah, I do like it. My favourite Bond film is On My Secret Service, followed by Spy Love Me, followed by Casino Royale, followed by From Russia with Love, and I'm also a bit of a fan of Fly Eyes Only as well, and Living Daylight's mine because it's in the performance. But Goldfinger is a good film. It's just not a great film, in my opinion.
That was time for my opinion. Okay, I'm just gonna throw them straight at you. Not in a hurry, but you know what I mean. I've got a lot to say.
We're only on 7.
Yeah, okay. I love all of John Barry's Bond soundtracks. You know, literally everything. Every single film that man touches, his music always turns out to be good. But
although I'll quickly interject that. One thing I will say, I don't love his score for Moonraker. I think it's okay. I think his score for Moonraker is
okay, they're not all amazing, but they're all. He does the job every time.
It's not his fault, yeah, like because it's always what the director wants. They sit down together, the director what I want to sell music here, blah blah. But anyway, you can't.
Fair enough. I love the music. For me, the Goldfinger soundtrack is my favourite Bond soundtrack. To be honest, I absolutely love Odd Jobs and pressing engagement.
Yeah.
That's debatably my favourite. I love the Bond countdown. I love the Goldfinger song. That is my favourite Bond song. Not gonna lie, I like Shirley Bassey.
My favourite plays Spy Love Me.
But yeah, I love the Spy.
Nobody does it better. Yeah.
Okay, I love that as well. Okay, it might be a tie. That and Goldfinger for me, not gonna lie, I do love that.
But anyway, yeah,
I've got a lot more to say about this. For me, in my opinion, Goldfinger was Sean Connery's prime. I think for me, I love him in his others, but he's my favourite in Goldfinger, and yeah, I think he was perfect in this film. I love how they got Honor Blackman to play his Bond lady. I thought she was great in it. I had no idea about this before, but she was actually older than Sean Connery. I thought it was the other way around, but she was nearly 40. She was like 39, unbelievably. She was in like her late 30s. I mean, To be fair, I mean, so she's like the oldest Bond girl, but for me, she's one of the best. She's a great actress. She was a great actress, and and also I love the guy who plays Goldfinger. I thought he was really good.
Kurt Forley or something like that. Yeah. He was German in real life. They overdubbed his lines for the film.
Well, as far as I'm aware, this is the only film that he's really known for. This is basically his film.
I think you find that quite a lot of Bond actors, whether it's the women or the men. To be honest, there's a lot. I mean, I can think of a few exceptions, like the villain in Casino Royale, villain in 4 Years Only. There's a couple of exceptions, but quite a lot of the Bond girls, and you know, just the way things happen.
I've got one more thing to say. I like the film Goldfinger includes two actors. One of them is still alive. Sadly, Margaret Nolan is no longer alive. I love how they got Margaret Nolan in to play Dink in that one scene when Sean Connery's having a massage at a hotel in Miami. Basically, it's at the start of the film, and she's literally only in it for like a minute. But I like her because she's actually in 2 Carry On movies, Carry On Girls, and she's in another one. She's in Carry On. It's either Carry On Dick or Carry On Henry. Okay, yeah.
We heavily disagree on the Carry On films. I saw one.
I don't love all of them, but certain ones.
I saw one at one of my lectures. I was for one of my lectures at uni, and it was one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Okay, yeah.
And it was Carry On Girls.
He saw the wrong one. You
saw the wrong one. You said you loved it.
I do only because I love the others. What way is Carry On Girls was the wrong Carry On to watch for the first time. What was it? You got shown the wrong one, is what I'm saying.
Well, okay.
Basically, but so what's that? And also, Shirley Eaton, who's actually still alive. I think she's like 87 now, so she's quite old. But I don't mean that in a rude way. She's not big. She's not great in the character. She's in a couple of like the very first Carry Ons, like the black and white ones, and but she's in this film for a very short time, but she's just very glamorous for that.
The 60s, yeah.
Yeah, and well, if she was born today, then she would still be very glamorous.
But there you go. Lewis is a big fan of.
For me, it's the perfect Bond.
Lewis is a big fan of Goldfinger, and also Carry On there. I feel like.
Yeah.
Right. Number 6.
No Carry Ons in my top 10 though.
So we're gonna have to do these now in record time.
Okay, so
number 6.
Got a lot of time.
Yeah, number 6. Only because I'm wearing my camera might run out as well. But anyway.
So I had a lot to say for Goldfinger.
Fair enough. But number 6 on my top 10 favourite films as of today is The Blues Brothers.
I love that film as well.
So this is probably the funniest film I've ever seen. I did say Hot Fuzz was hilarious as well, but this film is so funny. And again, I have a tin ear for comedy. There's some comments I've seen and I just don't laugh at, and everyone else finds something like, what film did you watch? But this is not one of the movies. I find this one of the funniest films ever, and even now after seeing the film like over 15 times, I still find it hilarious, which tells you how much I love it. I love how outlandish it is, how over the top it is, and it has one of the best. It has the best car chase in cinematic history, in my opinion. It's just so over the top in the best way possible, and the music is cracking as well. The soundtrack is brilliant. And interesting fact, by the way, which is another thing which makes me love this film even more, it had a cocaine budget. They had a budget for cocaine on the set of this film.
What do you mean by that?
So they had the main budget for the movie, and they set aside some of that budget to buy cocaine for the cast and the crew. So that's why.
I didn't know that.
That's what was happening in the 80s. Probably Predator, which we'll mention a bit later, that probably had the same sort of, a lot of the films in the 80s were heavily influenced by drugs. Ghostbusters, which is also made by the same people.
I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah. But anyway, what do you think of Blues Brothers?
I totally agree with literally. This is a film that we both actually agree on, which is good. Well, we've agreed on a few, I think we like all our choices. Yeah, but I feel like Blues Brothers we very heavily actually agree on rather than the other way around.
I showed you Blues Brothers actually. It was one of the first films we watched together. I remember we came out to my house and said, I'm going to show you Blues Brothers.
It was in,
it can't
might have been very early
year
first
13. College or something, yeah.
Or was it year 12? I don't know. Might have been year 12,
I think I first year
I think it was actually year 12, not year 13.
Yeah, it was one of the first times I drove over, and I just remember we watched that, and we had a great time. It's a cracking film. If you haven't seen it.
It's amazing.
1980, just...
And it's the only movie that I've actually seen
sensation.
Carrie Fisher in other than Star Wars. So.
Interesting fact of the day from Lewis Film.
Oh, yes.
But anyway, Lewis, what's number 6 on your top 10 films?
My number 6 is the only horror movie in my top 10, and pretty much all because of Jack Nicholson. Put it this way, if it wasn't for Jack Nicholson, I probably wouldn't have even picked it, but I won't say any more.
It's not your...
sorry. Okay, no, it's not... No, I said it's the only...
I think...
I don't class number 5 as a horror film.
No, 4.
4?
That's a horror film.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, more action, but we'll get to that.
Okay, right, yeah. The other time we're going about...
Okay, right.
Shortly.
Okay, right. Forget that. Okay, we're wasting time. Right, it's The Shining with Jack Nicholson.
The Shining, yes. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, his worst movie. Actually, I haven't seen either one, so I couldn't say. But
I think it's the only one that I've seen, isn't it? Or there's one for the other people.
2000, that's not him. 2001, you haven't seen that.
No. Okay, I love The Shining. I love the music in it. I love the old eerie music. It's perfect for me. I think Jack Nicholson is amazing in it.
Anything else you want to say?
I just love everything about it. I love the feel of the film. I feel like I'm actually there when I watch it. It's just...
That's it. Clockwork Orange. That's the movie I think's better. Which is also...
I haven't seen that. So yeah. I've only seen The Shining of his films.
I haven't seen many Kubricks.
I just love... Okay, there's just something about The Shining that... It's not like Goldfinger when I've got a million things to say. I just love it. It's just...
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be someone in this movie that's going to go... Perfect.
It's just for me. It's just perfect. I think I don't love horror films. I just like The Shining as a film.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of horror movies either. But
I just like the film.
I understand why I love The Shining, but personally for me, I loved it until I saw Clockwork Orange and I thought that's a better horror film because if you watch Clockwork Orange, it could actually happen. It's like real life or like The Shining does get a bit fanciful in my opinion, and I don't know. It's a good film. I just don't think it's amazing. Personally, but that's just me.
I love there's a few scenes in The Shining that when I first saw the film actually genuinely frightened me.
I'd probably say the same like the maze at the end as well. I found that quite chilling to watch the first time I saw it.
I think that the maze isn't actually one of the scenes that actually frightened me, but I don't know what you mean. I
think it was actually intense more, but it was. Yeah, I remember watching and thinking, oh, I don't know, let's just go in the first time. But since I've seen it about 3 times now. I don't know. It just doesn't have the same touch for me. But
I've seen it a lot more than 3 times.
Yeah. But anyway, number 5 on my top 10 favourite films is
Jurassic Park.
There we go. Jurassic Park. Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park. Another Steven Spielberg from this list. You'll be guessing already. Spielberg is my favourite filmmaker. Probably of all time. My favourite filmmaker working today is Edgar Wright. I've already spoken about Edgar Wright on this podcast. But my favourite filmmaker is probably Spielberg because he made some of my childhood favourites like E.T. and like Jurassic Park. And I've spoken about it many times on my YouTube channel, but I only came to truly love this film about 5 to 7 years ago when I saw it for the 3rd time, and I just remember realising how brilliant it was, and over time, you know, I've come to love it even more because you realise how revolutionary it was because of all the CGI, which was just so ahead of its time when it came out in 1993. It's so clever as well. Like the whole story, you know, Dennis and the embryos, and that's why the whole park goes wrong. And the film is the definitive monster movie, and I just think it's incredible. It's got an amazing John Williams musical score, and it's so sad the way the Jurassic franchise has turned out now.
It's a big shame.
Like Jurassic Dominion is.
I mean, at least when it comes to the Predator franchise, Prey 2022 has actually resurrected it. Whereas,
but apparently they're doing more Jurassic films, which I'm not happy about whatsoever. Apparently they're doing more now because I thought Dominion was
maybe it's a director. I don't know.
He's not really that good of a director. But anyway, that's just Jurassic Dominion. Back on Jurassic Park, I adore it to pieces.
I totally agree. I love Jurassic Park as well. I don't love it as much as he does, but I do. I think it's a cracking film.
The first time he watched it was I think all the way back in like I can't remember. First year of college. Yeah, was it first?
It was either 2018 or 2019.
Well, yeah. So he watched it a while ago. And he watched it on Netflix, and he watched it in 4 parts, and he came to me and he went, well, it wasn't as good as Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is one of his favourite films of all time. He went, what do you mean it wasn't as good as Raiders of the Lost Ark? That's like me comparing, I don't know, the latest, that's like me comparing Minions 2 to Star Wars. I'm obviously going to think that one's significantly better than the other.
Okay, but then I resurrected that. I watched it again properly, but this time actually here with Spike at his house, and I love it.
Brilliant. Anyway, Lewis is number 5.
My number 5 it's another Jack Nicholson. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 1975. Love it. For me, it's again a bit like The Shining, the perfect film for me. I think it's safe to say I'm a Jack Nicholson fan. I also love Jack Nicholson's Batman 1989. That was very shortly only just cut off this
list.
That's
one of his honourable mentions.
That's 12. Put it that way.
Yeah.
11, Flight to Phoenix 1965. Look it up.
As for me, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is a brilliant film. It's not in my top 10. Because I think it's a bit of a sad film, but it's still really, really good.
Yeah,
I just don't really like sad films.
Well, the thing with me is, it's a sad film, but it doesn't make me feel sad. I don't feel sad watching it.
I mean, the ending's kind of.
I feel sorry for Jack Nicholson at the end.
Spoiler! Oh, they did come out in '75. You know, if you haven't seen it, you know.
Well, not really. It took me until recently to watch it. No, okay.
Yeah, but you only saw the Godfather.
Okay, I haven't said what actually happens, so just.
Yeah, but you do. Okay, it's a bit of a bittersweet ending though, because there's still that. The native.
Yeah, we won't say what happens.
That piece, the ending is so good.
It's very iconic
because you get you feel so heartbroken with Jack Nicholson, and then that happens, and you're literally like you want to stand up and cheer.
Yeah. Okay, it's so iconic. The Simpsons literally made a spoof out of it in one of their episodes.
Simpsons made a spoof out of everything though.
Oh yeah, true.
They made a spoof out of The Shining.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah, fair enough. They've done a Raiders of the Lost Ark spoof as well. With
I've seen Temple of Doom and obviously Family Guy Star Wars stuff. I know Family Guy like Simpsons, but you know, Simpsons stuff.
Okay.
Anyway,
your number 4
is Return of the Jedi. Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. My first Star Wars one mentioning because we mentioned Empire. Well, I've got memory of
that was in my list though.
But still, yes, it's in my list. Saved it there. This is my true comfort film. Honestly, it's a film I watch whenever I'm feeling down.
Just Ewoks.
Ewoks. I don't care what anyone says. I know some people out there who watched this film when it came out in 1983 don't like Ewoks. Get hard. Ewoks are the best things ever.
But the thing, I don't love them in the way that Spike does, but I do know what you mean. It's a bit like Jurassic Park. It's like nobody had ever seen anything like Ewoks in Star Wars Return of the Jedi. I think
people thought they were a bit Muppet-esque. I think that was a problem, but I don't.
It's the sort of thing that nobody would have ever come up with apart from the people that made it.
I mean, funny enough, the same guy who used to do all the puppet, I think he used to voice Miss Piggy in the Muppet stuff. He ended up voicing Yoda, which is quite a nice Muppets connection. And Yoda was actually puppeted in the original 3 films and in the original version of The Phantom Menace. So there you go there. So there's a nice little style connection to the Muppets. But anyway, back on to Return of the Jedi. I also love the Jabba's Palace stuff at the beginning. I love the first half now the movie. I love all the stuff with the Emperor and all the stuff at Endor is great. The Battle of Endor is brilliant. I remember when we watched the film recently, we literally sat down, we had a small break. I think he went to the loo, and we sat down to watch the last 45 minutes like, we're in for a treat now. And also the duel between Luke, Vader and the Emperor is iconic. What do you have to say about the film? And wait, don't say anything because yours might come from your list.
I totally agree. I love it. I love it. Either just as much as Spike does, or because that's saying something. Or yeah, it's real. I feel like we equally. You love the Ewoks more than me, but I feel like we equally. I saw the film years ago, so I've
the only reason it isn't higher is because I do, at an older age, recognise some of the problems with it, but they don't bother me because I have such a nostalgic view of this film.
It's got great music, obviously.
It's so nostalgic for me, so.
I love Jabba the Hutt in the film as well when he's in it.
But hey, Lewis, what's your number 4?
Oof, here we go. Number 4, right? This is getting into the.
This is over horror. It's more of a thriller, to be honest.
Yeah. It's more of a. It's a horror thriller. It's scary. It's an action movie. Scary things up there. But guys, this is getting into the range now where the films that the perfect. Put it that way for me.
Directed by the same guy who made Die Hard 1 and 3. It is, of course.
Predator 1987, classic. Arnold Schwarzenegger, classic. Need I say more? I like the Alan Silvestri soundtrack.
Oh, it's great. Alan Silvestri's a great composer. He did Back to the Future as well.
Yeah. I love his music. And Back to the Future is another honourable mention. It's not in my list though.
Yeah, it's not in my list.
Honourable mention.
Yeah, honourable mention. Spielberg involved in that as well. So there you go. Predator. I'm a big fan of Predator. I don't love as much as him. I only saw it about 2 weeks ago for the first time.
I've got like a really personal. It's partly because it's my dad's favourite movie, and you know,
there you go,
we like a lot of this. So It's not my favourite movie, but it's up there.
But what I was going to say about The Predator beforehand was, I recently watched Shane Black's The Predator, which came out in 2018. Remember that movie? No, because no one does, because it wasn't memorable whatsoever. It is rubbish. It makes Predators, the third film in the Predator franchise, look like a masterpiece. It really does. Honestly,
I've not seen that. I've seen Predator 2, which is good, but it's not great.
Yeah, I do like the film, but I think, Prey, in my opinion, is just as good.
For me, Prey is just behind. I do love Prey. Yeah, it's close.
But I think the first Predator is a great 80s action movie.
It's a classic.
Yeah. And you can tell where John McTiernan, who directed that movie, got some of the ideas for.
Another honourable mention is Terminator 2, which isn't in either of our lists, sadly, but great film.
But what I was saying there was you could just tell where John McTiernan, who directed the film, got some of the ideas for Die Hard as well. Yeah. But anyway, number 3 on my top 10 favourite films is something he's never heard of before, and that is Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia. What do you think the film is about?
I've heard of it from you. I don't have a clue what it was.
Just try and describe the plot. Magnolia.
Yeah.
What do you think it's about? Yeah. What do you think it's about?
It's about a man who.
We're getting nowhere here. Right, Magnolia. In case you don't know, it's essentially an epic about real human depression, everyday lives, and standing up for yourself. It's an impeccable film. I don't know what I was going to say.
So what year is it from?
Came out in 1999. Okay. So it's not that old. And
who's in it? I've got literally no clue.
Oh, everyone's in it. Literally, like John C. Reilly. Who else is in it? I'm freezing right now, but oh Christ, who else is in it? Who else? I'm freezing the names of the people involved. Give me a sec, guys. William H. Macy's in it. I
need to look at this.
Magnolia. I know some people really don't like it. Tom Cruise is in it. Julianne Moore, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Philip Baker Hall. Some of these other people. Alpha Molina is in it. It's got a great cast.
I know a few.
Yeah. Louise Guzman, who's in quite a few of Paul Thomas Anderson. If you don't know who Paul Thomas Anderson is, by the way, he directed films like Boogie Nights, There'll Be Blood, Punch of Love, The Master, and he recently directed Licorice Pizza, which I think was one of my favourite movies from last year. It's an incredible film, and if you don't know what it's about, I've already said it's like an epic about real human depression, everyday lives, and standing up for yourself. But this is one I turn to every time I feel down, and even though it's over 3 hours long, it's a long film. It is truly one of the most exciting movies I've seen, and the most shocking movies I've ever seen. And even though it's 3 hours long, I've seen it over 4 times. I think it's brilliant. I've seen it 4 times. But anyway, yes. He can't comment on this because he hasn't seen it. But
no, I don't.
Would you be interested in checking out this?
Yeah, I would watch it, yeah.
Anyway, definitely. Right, going on to Lewis's number 3. Number 3 on his list is a film we've already mentioned, but we're going to mention it again now because it's number 3 on his list, and that is...
Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Now, I wasn't actually going to put this as my number 3, but in the end, it's my number 3, and yeah, I've got absolutely nothing against it being in 3rd because I do love it.
I put his list together because he sent me the list.
But it is pretty accurate. It is accurate. Yeah. It's accurate enough. I love the music in Return of the Jedi. It's obviously John Williams. Again, it was 1983, wasn't it? 1983. I think it's just an all round. I think Star Wars Empire Strikes Back is an all round complete film. But I think the thing with Return of the Jedi is I feel like it's an hour plus wait. Like the last 45 minutes of the film is the best. So it's like it leaves you looking forward to like the best bits for a while, which I like. And it keeps you entertained until then, but it saves the best till last, quite literally. And yeah, I just
who doesn't love the Ewoks?
I love the fight in Return of the Jedi between Luke and Vader. It wasn't like the Empire one when it was like all Vader. It's it's actually.
I mean, that whole sequence was just, amazing.
Yeah, and I love the Emperor in Return of the Jedi as well.
Same guy played him in Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith.
I've got no idea how.
And Rise of Skywalker. So Ian McDiarmid, great actor. He also had that small cameo in Obi-Wan recently.
I always used to think the guy who played the Emperor was actually some like old guy in the originals, but he was young just with makeup.
There you go, Star Wars for you. Anyway, number 2 on my top 10 favourite films is Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade.
Classic. I've got absolutely no complaints.
On a different day, this would be number 1 in my top 10, and I said this in my review of the film on this channel, which if you haven't yet, please go and check out.
It's a tie.
It's emotional. It has the best action sequences of all 4 Indiana Jones films, in my opinion. That's some of the best action sequences of all time, in my opinion. And, you know, the whole opening with young Indy, with River Phoenix playing young Indy, the whole boat, seeing the way that they go in together, all the boat fight in Venice, the motorcycle chase, the tank chase, and I love the storyline between Indy and his father, and it's the best Indiana Jones film, and also it's got the best Indiana Jones John Williams music score. It's probably my favourite John Williams music score. Like, I love his score for the film I'm going to mention next as well. I love his score for Empire. There you go. That's my number 1 favourite.
Spoiler.
I may as well do both at the same time, actually. I love his score for Empire as well, but the Grail theme for Last Crusade, you know,
it is amazing.
Boom, 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 boom.
I also love the end credits of The Last Crusade.
Yeah, it's a brilliant
Everything about it is perfect.
Every time I hear that score, it transports me back to Last Crusade.
I think the guy that plays I think the guy who plays Voyager, the Nazi Colonel, did it perfectly. He was brilliant.
It's a perfect film.
I love Elsa.
Quentin Tarantino,
Not really
who's made some, great films in the past. Haven't loved all his movies, like I Don't Love the Hateful Eight, but Quentin Tarantino has come out recently and said that he thinks Last Crusade is the worst of the Indiana Jones films. He actually first in the Crystal Skull. I think Tarantino's a good filmmaker.
Okay,
what the hell is he saying?
Right. I actually feel insulted right now, I'm not gonna lie. That is an absolute
I remember
insult.
when I read that, I was like Tarantino thinks Last Crusade... I mean, it's fair enough you think Temple of Doom is better. It's fair enough you think Raiders is better.
Yeah.
But King...
That's like somebody telling... that's like somebody telling a Harry Potter fan, the first 3 are pants, by the way. The 5th one's the best.
Yeah, I mean, some people think... Which one's the... I haven't seen any Harry Potter films in a long while, but some people think that the 4th one or something is when they're all a bit older with the Phoenix. What's it called? Prisoner of Azkaban. Done with Gary Oldman.
I used to watch that.
People think that's like the best one, but I haven't seen it in a long while, so I can't comment. But still, nonetheless, you get the point I'm making. Tarantino, he's a good filmmaker, a bit overrated in my opinion, but still a good filmmaker. But what is he going on about? Anyway, my number 1 of my top 10 favourite films is Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Lou's already spoken about it, so I didn't give my opinion on it, because I'm giving my opinion on it now. On a different day, Last Crusade might be in this place, but for now, for this day, Empire Strikes Back is in the place of number 1 of my top 10 favourite films, because, like I said before, with Last Crusade, Empire's a perfect film to me as well. I love how it's completely different to A New Hope. They didn't just do a rehash of the first film. It has 2 iconic sequences, the 80-80 walkers incoming, Yoda training Luke, the asteroid field sequence, that great musical score, bum ba da da, ba bum 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 ba da da da. And then there's also Cloud City.
It's got so many.
It's amazing.
It's got so many great themes. I love the theme when they're escaping Cloud City. It's called the Duel. I love Yoda, Yoda and the Force. I love the.
Yoda and the Force.
Yeah, even just when they're going through the asteroids, that little bit of music, that's perfect.
Which I just sung on the mic.
I love
but also
I love the march, the Imperial March.
Interesting fact about that. This is the first film the Imperial March was used in.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
This is the film. This is the film that John Lee's made it for, because it isn't used in A New Hope.
Is it used
in every single Star Wars film since? I think with the exception of Solo, because Darth Vader's not in that.
A New Hope is also A New Hope is.
It's a great film.
It's an honourable mention. Amazing soundtrack.
I just think Empire's miles better, to be honest. But like, the Imperial March is being used in every single Star Wars film. You can listen to the scores. It's used faintly when you hear Anakin's theme in The Phantom Menace. It's used faintly in Attack of the Clones at the very end of the score. It's used in Revenge of the Sith quite a lot.
But the thing that it's used the best. But in Empire Strikes Back, it's not just the first film it was used in. It's also used the best in that film. It's really it's just full on.
And also, it's used in The Force Awakens when you see Darth Vader's helmet. It's used in Last Jedi, and it's used in Rise of Skywalker. It's also used in Rogue One because Vader's actually in Rogue One, and of course, it's used in Obi-Wan Kenobi at the very end. And I don't know if it's used in Mandalorian, actually. I can't say. But, it's my favourite. It's probably tied my favourite John Williams score of all time. It's a perfect film.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So anyway, let's do Lewis's top 2, because they're both in the same franchise. You may as well do it together. So number 2 on Lewis's list is...
Raiders of the Lost Ark. I absolutely okay for me. okay. Number one is Indiana Jones: Last Crusade.
So we're both pretty close in Indiana Jones: Last Crusade.
Yeah, we are. But for me, we both got different opinions on Raiders. But for me, Raiders and Last Crusade.
Oh, Raiders is in my top 20, by the way.
Alright, fair.
It's still one of my favourite films.
Well, yeah, I thought it'd be in your top 20. I'd be shocked if it wasn't in your top 20. But,
it's my top 21.
Yeah, 'cause I know that you love the music as well, like I do.
Yeah,
So.
it's great.
But for me, Raiders and Last Crusade. Okay, if it was a conjoined, if it was like a conjoined, like I think Raiders and Last Crusade are gonna have to be my 1.5, if that's a thing. You know,
brilliant.
Let's see, like halfway between 1 and 2 is. I'll go through Raiders first. Okay, if I had to choose, if I could only take one.
You're on a desert island. The one is saying you can take one.
Maybe I'm gonna say Last Crusade. Okay, Last Crusade. I do love Raiders. Raiders Lost Ark. I love the music. I love the how it begins in the jungle. I love the Peru scene. I literally love everything about the film. I think it goes without saying. Exactly. I mean,
and one thing we'll say about
I love the truck chase, the plane chase. I thought the
plane chase is great.
I thought the Nazi mechanic, big guy, is perfect. So
oh yeah,
spoiler. Go and watch the film if you haven't.
Yeah, if you haven't already, do go check it out because it's an amazing movie. But one thing, funny little story here of me and Lewis, we went to go and see Raiders on the big screen with a live orchestra.
No, I'd enjoy it a lot more now.
Yeah, it was just in a different place back then.
Yeah.
But like, we watched it with live studio orchestra. I did that with Jurassic Park as well, one thing I forgot to mention. We watched it with a live orchestra and it's something else. It really is.
It's amazing.
And even so I'm not the biggest fan of Raiders, well, I wasn't when I was a kid, I should rephrase that. I wasn't the biggest fan of Raiders when I was a kid. I love it now, and I totally agree with him. It's an amazing film.
Now on to the last one. In terms of Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade, I mean, obviously we recently went through it with Spike, but I love this isn't because I agree with what the Nazis did, but I love the Nazi feel to the film. I love how in The Last Crusade you actually see a lot of Nazi flags, and you know it's based in 1938, so the year literally before World War. So at this point the Nazis were very high, and you feel that in the film, and you even see them burning the books in Berlin. It's history, yeah. And I mean, literally, not gonna lie. I don't know who played Hitler in that film, but the guy that played Hitler literally looked exactly like him.
Yeah, so
they literally couldn't have got that more bang on. I don't know whoever chose him. If you're watching this, good job. I'll listen to this. Well, you chose right, but yeah, that I love the music.
Yeah, and it's again a perfect movie. So I'm gonna get some honorable mentions. I didn't remember this, but
and then I've got some honorable mentions as well.
Just Peter Jackson's King Kong from 2005. One of my all-time favourite monster movies.
That's a classic film.
Bohemian Rhapsody. Exactly. Yeah.
Bohemian
Rhapsody. The Queen biopic, which I adored to pieces. Don't care what anyone says.
That was a very big film in 2018.
I remember when
I thought everyone loved that film.
No, some people don't. But like, I remember when I went to go and see it in 2018, and I came out, and just that live aid sequence makes you want to stand up and run a mile. You know, it's fantastic. The Darjeeling Limited, if I've heard this before, but my favourite Wes Anderson movie, great. Rogue One, which I love to pieces, which he had a very funny experience with back when he first watched it. He thought it was a sequel to The Force Awakens because it came out the year after The Force Awakens, which is an easy mistake to make if you haven't watched the trailers and if you haven't looked at the poster. So it's not an easy mistake to make, because if you go into the cinema to watch it, which he did, it's like going to watch, I don't know, the latest Marvel movie. It's like going to watch Captain Marvel after Avengers Infinity War and saying, that's a sequel to Infinity War. No, it's not! Then anyway, Big Fish as well, which is my favourite Tim Burton movie starring Ewan McGregor, and it's absolutely incredible.
I like my small fishes personally.
What are your honourable mentions? Shut up. What are your honourable mentions?
Got you.
Just have a couple. Okay. Don't go on, because I know you're
going to... Big fan of Terminator 2. I like his first one as well, but the second one is the best. Yeah, it's a complete film.
Objectively, it's a better movie.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think it is a better movie. I don't love the first Terminator. I think it's great. I don't love it though. The Godfather 1972, absolutely perfect film, amazing.
And one day I'll watch the sequel.
Yeah. Okay, I'll watch the second one soon. I love the first one. I mean, I'd say I love the Godfather Trilogy, but I've only seen the first one. But when I have watched all three,
the third one's very
I'll say
different than the first two. But I still
love it. Well, I absolutely love the Godfather. I love First Man after recently watching that. That's an honourable mention from 2018. So also,
I'll
let's go a few more. Flight of the Phoenix, James Stewart and Richard Attenborough, 1965. Love that film.
A New Hope.
A New Hope is an honourable mention. Batman 1989 with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, love it. Also, Batman Returns with Michael Keaton in 1992.
I do prefer Batman Returns.
I do know what you mean. I think Danny DeVito was the perfect choice for the Penguin. I mean, who else? And
to be fair, I do think Colin Farrell played really well in the Batman, but we disagree on the Batman.
I could come up with honourable mentions for you guys for literally ever, but we've got to stop at some point.
Yeah, because we're a bit tight on time today anyway. So, nevertheless, just a quick rundown of our top 10 favourite films. So, start off with Lewis. His top 10 favourite films. Start with
Escape from Alcatraz.
Number 9 was
Empire Strikes Back.
Number 8 was
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Number 7 was
Goldfinger.
Number 6 was
The Shining.
Number 5 was
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Number 4 was
Mouthful. Predator.
Number 3 was
Return of the Jedi.
Number 2 was
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
And number 1 was
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
And my number 1 was Elvis. My number 2 was Whiplash. Oh no, my number 10 was Elvis. Sorry, number 10 was Elvis.
Your
my
number 9
was Whiplash.
Number
my
8
was Hot Fuzz.
Number 7
Catch Me If You Can.
Number 6
Blues Brothers.
Number 5
Jurassic Park.
Number 4
Star Wars 6: Return of the Jedi.
Number 3
Magnolia.
Number 2
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Number 1
Star Wars Episode 5: The Empire Strikes Back. And that is our top 10 favourite films.
And you've got our honourable mentions.
So if you enjoyed this podcast today, thank you so much. And if you did, please do click down below, like, subscribe, watch us on YouTube, or leave a comment if you leave a review if you're listening to the podcast. Subscribe to the podcast as well. And we will probably have another podcast coming in the next week or so. But until then, guys, thank you as always for watching, and look forward to much more of these coming very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon. More podcasts coming soon as well.
Just before we finish, I've got one more honourable mention. Spike, you know how I love my Carry On movies? Well, I like to give one Carry On here, okay? If I had to choose, I'm a big fan of Carry On. I'm gonna go with Carry On Doctor. That's a classic Carry On. Anyone who likes Carry On films knows Carry On Doctor. So, okay, in there for me, as a personal one for me, honourable mention, Carry On Doctor.
Classic. There we go. We had to get that with one last thing. Yeah. So, like I said before, guys, just, if you are listening on the podcast, please leave a review below. Subscribe to the podcast, wherever you listen to it on. Hopefully it's on Spotify. If it isn't, I do apologise.
Guys, if you enjoy having me here,
we'll look forward to more of him in the future. But also, if you're watching on YouTube, if you aren't watching on YouTube, just on the podcast. The YouTube channel is Now the Movies. Go and check it out if you haven't already. There's probably a link to the description below. Subscribe to the channel, like, whatever you do. Tell your friends about the podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. And we're going to finish here because we've rambled on a bit too much.
Right, stop them add Eddie Murphy.
No, you're not adding on Eddie Murphy. He's going to add bloody Norbit. Right, we're not adding Norbit. Norbit's one of the worst pieces of cinema.
No, I wasn't going to say Norbit. I was just going to say, as a meme, Eddie Murphy. Just Eddie Murphy.
What? Right, okay. Right, we're going to end the podcast there. Thank you for watching, and see you guys again soon. Bye for now.
Bye.